technically none, but once, right? So I came into Baruch as an accounting major on paper, but not knowing shit about accounting. Um, and so I went through first semester still having an accounting major, I want to say, and probably towards the end of that semester or going into like second semester of freshman year, I kind of knew it was quiet for accounting. Like, like I just wasn't, once like you started learning more about it and having a better gauge for it, and starting to like at the time do some networking where you're actually talking to people who are doing accounting as a job and just like studying accounting on campus and hearing more about it. I just knew it wasn't going to be a lifestyle fit for me. Like it just didn't sound interesting at all. So Darnid Kyle, which I'm not sure if you had the pleasure of like
Yeah.
meeting at Boog, was a huge part of me kind of figuring out what next steps were going to be for me. And again, another one of those mentorship figures I had during my time at Baruch, mentor figures. Um, so I ended up changing my major to business communications or corporate communications. And it's funny because like Baruch is like it's like that common corp com joke where like a lot of people leave Zicklin or flunk out of Zicklin or whatever and hop right into corp com. So like it kind of does have that that like kind of like has that aesthetic at Baruch. But for me, it was like no, this is just genuinely the classes that I'm enjoying the most. Like I'm enjoying my marketing classes and my communication classes the most. And so from a just like a educational standpoint, like no, this is actually the content that I'm like messing with the most. So like, all right, these are gonna be the classes that I tend to do the best in, right? But then two, when I was just thinking about career stuff, I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm gonna want to do in 10 years. So from a major standpoint, I'm just not going to be married to the idea of like, all right, I have to do actuarial science because I have to be an actuarial scientist or accountant, for X amount of years. It's about to be cool. What is the major that's going to give me a broad enough skill set to just kind of like do well in whatever I decide to do? And so I think what you get out of the corp com major, especially if you luck out with having some of the better professors in that department, is stuff that's super applicable to anything you decide to do. Like, I don't know a job that you're not gonna have to be decent, at least not even if you're not amazing, but be decent at presenting materials, right? Be decent at communication, both email, like both written and verbal communication. Being good at um being able to deliver stuff in a concise manner, right? So it's beyond just like, people don't ever want to read a 7 paragraph, email. So you're able to kind of like consolidate information and make it like digestible to whatever audience that you got to deal with. And I think that's a lot of the stuff or I was getting out of that major that I just valued a ton because I'm like, cool, like there's never not going to be a career path I decide to go on where I'm not going to be able to leverage these skills. So that's kind of like what led me to choosing that major. And I want to say, if not officially the end of my first semester of freshman year, I think definitely by second semester I had that major. So I was just kind of like I didn't even care to go deeper into Zicklin. It was like I just like so for me it wasn't one of them like flunk out situations that like we kind of saw a ton of. It was more about I just know I'm not gonna like mess with this at all. So let me not even waste time and just dive right into the stuff that I am interested in. So yeah, it didn't take me long to change my major, and once I changed it, like I never looked back. So
Yeah, Ziegler was rough.
yeah, I did not envy y'all.